Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I am your host of the Joe Soro Experiment. Yes, I am Joe Soro, and you are also watching the Dodgers Fast Pitch, where we will discuss what an amazing week that the Dodgers have had, and of course, how much fun us Dodger fans have had as well. I want to thank everyone for being here. This is the second show of the Joe Soro Experiment. We're hoping to have many, many more here in the future. Been out about 3 days. I actually got back about 2 hours ago from a personal slash business. There was both personal and business. Out of town, finally was able to drive in here tonight. It was a pretty good drive too. And if you can avoid traffic, Sunday nights driving through LA to get home usually are pretty good. But I wanted to get onto a couple stories that have kind of piqued my interest. One is something that's been peaking a little here and there as I've been listening to the sports shows and reading some of the publications, as well as being on YouTube and all the other video places that show what's been going on. And that is Roki Sasaki. So on Saturday, he had started his second game this year. His first one was the one in Tokyo, the second game of the year. Didn't pitch too bad in that one. I think went about 3 innings. Kind of thought he might have gone 4 or 5 in that one. I think most of us thought he would, but didn't make it out of 3. No big deal. Kind of figured, he was a little nervous, a little amped up, so it was what it was. His start on Saturday though didn't go too well. You could tell when you were looking at his body language that he was kind of pressing. And I noticed also that it's just his control, even in the first game, was just not there. And he got out of control pretty quickly on Saturday and then just kept kind of struggling, but could have been worse. I actually thought the way all the Dodger pitchers performed really in that 3-game series, they even if they were in a little bit of trouble, it seemed like they were able to get out of it with very, very minimal damage. And most of those runs that were scored on him in the first inning were kind of like either a blooper by Margot and, just kind of pop-ups and tags. There was no like dominating hits. And again, I'll get to all of the games here so far for the Dodgers this year because things have been going as planned, of course, because the Dodgers have probably the most lethal offense in baseball. And should they win a championship this year, I could see it being probably the most lethal offense that's probably ever been put together. So with that, I'll go into more detail with Roki and kind of what my assertions are of what's yet to come, because I think I've heard some things, and in this world of nonsense, really, it's what it is this too quick to assume that things are going on when this thing should be obvious that it's just normal stuff. Roki is 23 years old. Mind you, he's been a professional for a while, so I'm not saying he's not. But you're talking about a guy who's throwing a ball that's not similar to, or I should say similar, but not the same as what he was doing in Japan. And you also have a guy who's pitching now in the largest stadium in baseball and the most packed stadium in baseball on the team that's the most popular baseball team on the planet at the moment, due to the fact that he has his countrymen on there and Shohei Ohtani. That might be debatable. Maybe the Yankees are still number 1 around the world, but right now I think either they're a little bit behind or even, or maybe the Dodgers are above by now. But I don't have those. I don't have that data. I'm just going by kind of an assumption that because of what the Dodgers have done here in the last year, as well as having the most popular athlete, arguably the most popular athlete on the planet. I know Ronaldo and Messi will have something to say about that, but that's what's going on here. LeBron as well. So my thing is, I don't understand the panic. Let this thing go. Let this thing kind of right itself. If Roberts feels like he needs to take him out early for the next 4 or 5 starts. The Dodgers have enough depth in the bullpen to make it work. I know that there isn't this want to go that to the well all the time, every day, and that's fine. I understand the hesitation there, but it's not likely going to happen. You still have 4 other pitchers, at least for right now. You're going to probably have more soon. You have 4 other pitchers that are likely going to go 4 to 6 innings here through this run, and however that gets kind of subtracted and added will depend on Shohei starting likely at the end of May. When Kershaw comes back, probably the middle of the year, you still have Gonson, you still have Bobby Miller, and those guys who they can throw in there. But I'm not concerned in any way, and I really believe that none of you should be concerned. No Dodger fan should be concerned about any of this. Let him, because I'm hearing, oh, drop him down to minor league. I mean, the craziness of the impatience is just keeps getting worse. I thought it was bad just a few years ago, but it's getting worse. The second you have a bad inning, all of a sudden now it's, hey, no, maybe you might want to send him down. No, let him get through this little rut. He's still throwing heat. He just needs to control it. You guys ever seen the movie Major League? Remember Ricky Vaughn? Remember, he could throw the ball. He was a flamethrower, but didn't have any control. I mean, I know in the movie he has to get glasses to get to that level, but the point is, in real life here is you got to let this guy play through it. He's still 23 years old, but he's got the juice, and he's also a pro already. It's not like we're taking him out of college or double A and putting him in this. This guy's played professional baseball for 4 years now. He will adjust, and once he adjusts, we'll get a chance to see how good he is, and I really believe that. Let's see. Yeah, see, I knew, Mark. I knew you were going to say. I knew you were going to say Messi instead of Ronaldo, but I know you know. I know you know you're paying attention to what's going on, and I know that you know that Ronaldo is now in a fighting game, and I'll just let you talk about that on another note. I'm not going to talk about Ronaldo with Mark around because I know that's going to trigger things. Search Sasaki. Let's see. Sasaki will be fine. He's adjusting. Absolutely. Yeah. There is no there is no worry here. I don't just don't worry. Go relax. Don't worry. And just know that the Dodgers offense is here and they're gonna be here for a while. They were able to score more runs, even more runs this last game without Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts took a nice day off and they were still able to drop 7 runs. So yeah, you can't stop this team, guys. You just can't stop it. Aaron, what's up, brother? Thank you for being here. Roki is still a kid, only 23 years, and and that definitely plays a part in this too. If you take away baseball, and you focus on the fact that 23 is a young man, but it's still 23 in a new country. When you saw him kind of just at the press conference when he first signed and seeing him in Tokyo and these kind of things, you do see that there's a little bit more. What's the word I'm looking for? You could see that he's a little bit more emotional. He's not as stoic as Yamamoto, isn't as surefire as Shohei when it comes to the Japanese player. You just see maybe a little bit more emotion than you normally see from a Japanese player. Japanese players tend to be more stoic and more kind of they look sure of themselves. It's just kind of all business. But Roki seems like he does kind of ooze. I'm a young kid, and I'm kind of scared. That's kind of what it looked like. And when a kid is scared, usually you need the adults, usually you need the authorities, usually you need the leaders around you to say, listen, we understand you're scared, we understand you're nervous, but we're not going to worry about any of that. Get it out now. Go ahead and get it out. Get yourself just in a zone where you feel like you can start getting things going. And if you feel like you're not going to get it here, just let us know and we'll kind of adapt the best way we can. What else can you do? But for the way I'm looking at it is if the Dodgers end up doing a six-man rotation, this Roki thing will probably be a little bit easier because you're not really having him come out every fifth day. So you'll have him out every sixth day, which I'm still suspect on the five or the six-man rotation. It's one of those things where I'm like, ideally, it sounds great. Ideally, I think it would be conducive to this particular setup because that's what the Japanese pitchers are acclimated to back in Japan. But then you hear, Blake Snell doesn't really want to wait 6 days to pitch. So that tends to kind of throw that off. So are they going to keep Snell? Are they going to keep Glass now? Are they going to keep if Gosselin comes back or Bobby Miller ends up pitching? Are they going to always keep those guys on the 5 day rotation and then kind of cycle in Shohei eventually, and then Yamamoto, and then Roki? It's going to be one. That's going to be an interesting setup. A lot of kind of new things that are happening here. There's a little bit of a shift in baseball that you're noticing in the way the bullpen activity has kind of changed the culture of the bullpen. The way Roberts won a World Series with a bullpen being his fourth starter. This might be the norm. This might end up being something that will be normal come the future when a team doesn't have the ability to have a fourth starter. It's very true. I think you should start looking at that as possibly a thing. And when you look at it from a money standpoint too, a lot of these teams that don't want to spend a lot of money on starting pitching, because when you have a legitimate starting pitcher, these guys get paid a good amount of money unless they're just coming into the league. As soon as they get established, they're going to get paid a lot of money. So maybe some of these teams are going to start going that way and say, hey, look, we'd rather just pay a bunch of relief guys to pitch one of those games, even during the season, not just the playoffs. And that saves us paying a starter 15 to 20 million bucks. We can just pay what we're already paying for relief pitchers. I guarantee you guys that might be something. That might be something that starts to kind of develop. We already saw the torpedo bats make its way here not too long ago, and it looks like the Yankees are feeling good about themselves. I think it's a placebo. I think they're playing with bats that probably will get adjusted to, but I think they actually think that they have what was Roy Hobbs's bat in the Natural? Was it Lightning? I know the last bat when he broke the Lightning one, it was the Savoy Special or something. But I think they all think they got the Natural bat. So now you have Volpe hitting home runs left and right, Chisholm hitting home runs left and right. Of course, as long as it's a regular season game, Mr. Judge is always going to hit home runs. So I don't think that'll be a big deal. But yeah, just the kind of an interesting news that's come out with the bat thing, and then of course discussing what the future might hold in terms of rotations, and that is a bullpen starter for more teams as time goes on. The fact that they came out, let me see here, Matt, where are we here? The fact that they came out with a new bat is pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know what to think about it yet. I think again it's a placebo. I think they think that they got an advantage in their heads that it's working, and they're going up there with full confidence that they have an extra weapon, and now they're able to go with it. But I don't know. I don't know how that'll all play out. Good pitching will cool off their bats again. Yeah. So the pitching part right now, if I had to look at the Dodgers pitching, there hasn't really been a game where you're like, okay, there's been a shutdown of the opposing team's offense. Detroit's a kind of a pest. I actually had talks with some of my friends about Detroit because I have lineage there. I was born in a suburb of Detroit. I don't claim Detroit because I was there until I was 2 years old. My parents moved out west. Uh, but uh, I did say to some of my friends and some of my family members that kind of sort of cheer for Detroit. I said I wouldn't be surprised if it's a World Series of the Dodgers in Detroit. Detroit seem to have this analytical thing that works. AJ Hitch is about that, and the way they played in this 3-game series, even though they lost every game, they were in every game. I believe they scored first in every game, and they were kind of a nuisance, even when they didn't uh, really have a chance at doing anything. They just seemed like Manuel Margot hitting and timely hitting and lucky hits. It's like, when you have that kind of extra on the team, that tends to win you a lot of games throughout a 162 game season. Plus, when you start to make those kind of hits, make those kind of decisions on how to set things up, you win those crucial playoff games, which they did last year. They did. They just ran into the wrong team at the wrong, at finally in the end, and there was a good chance if a couple things went their way, they could have ended up, possibly being in the World Series. But watch out for Detroit. I'm going to say this: watch out for Detroit. I don't really believe the East is going to be strong this year. Again, the Yankees are off to a good start. I think Boston's going to not be as good as I actually was hoping they'd be, because I would love to face them again to get revenge over their cheating rear ends from 2018. But you all know my number one is the Astros. If there's some way the Astros, and I'm accentuating the S on that, guys, with 2 S's. I want the Astros desperately. I want those sons of what's in there so that the Dodgers can sweep them in Houston. We beat the Yankees in Yankee Stadium in the most beautiful fashion, with them doing exactly what they were known for last year more than anything. Was actually both things: hitting home runs, which they did in Game 5, and crapping on themselves. And the Dodgers took advantage of both and ended up winning a championship in the Bronx, which is what I was hoping for. And of course, I'm going to hope for it. I'm always going to hope for that because I don't want to lose. You play the first 2 games at home, next 3 games in New York. I did not want the Dodgers to lose any of the games. And lucky for us Dodger fans, they lost 1 over there. And of course, the Dodgers won the other 2. So fitting, great series, at least for the Dodgers. And now I'm looking for another one here. I just want Houston really, really bad. I want to put that to bed, even though the 90% of the dillweeds that were on that team are not there anymore. The one that's probably the worst is Altuve, and I would love to I would love for the Dodgers to put their foot right down his stupid face, and maybe even into his shirt, so he doesn't have to worry about anything busting in there this time. But that's my hope. But watch out for Detroit. Watch out for Detroit. The Houston Putas. That's a good one, Mark. Joe called the title on the Bronx last year. Thanks, Aaron. It just felt that way. It just felt with the way things were playing out. After the San Diego series, I said, man, wouldn't it be cool if they ended up beating both New York teams? I don't think they were set yet, or maybe they were. They might have been before the Dodgers won a Game 5, but I know I wanted the Mets instead of Philly for the New York effect. Whether it was Philly or the Mets, without knowing the city, that was irrelevant. I wanted the New York part because it just kind of looked cool. Like where, okay, the Dodgers took care of Southern California with the San Diego Padres, where they're from, and now it's time to go to Detroit. Now it's time to go to New York, because we heard how many times? I mean, seriously, it was nauseating hearing this every damn time. Oh, the Mets were the best team since June, or since May, or since whatever, and I was so tired. I think it was John Smoltz who kept yapping, and it sucks too because I like Smoltz. I like his descriptions of the game and his details and how he identifies pitches and why certain pitches are going to be coming down the pipe at this point of the game, at this particular batter. That stuff is great, but I felt like he lost a little bit of that because he was so busy yapping about every team except the Dodgers. Like, I don't understand. Did the network head say, "Look, the Dodgers are the bee's knees right now. We need to pump up the teams that are not as good as the Dodgers." I don't know if that's what happened, or he just doesn't like the Dodgers. I don't even know why Smoltz wouldn't like the Dodgers. Well, Dodgers, when he was in his heyday, were choking left and right. They had 5 rookies of the year from 1992 to 1997, and they couldn't win a freaking playoff series to save their lives. So I don't know why Smoltz would not like the Dodgers, other than the fact that maybe his producer said, "Look, pump up the Mets so we can get some, juices going." But I don't know. But by them beating the Mets, my dream, because I've been fortunate enough to watch the Lakers beat the Celtics in the finals, which is their in what do they call it? The intra conference rival. So essentially, is you have a team that's from a different conference, a different league, but it's their known rival when it comes to that title game. So the Celtics and the Lakers are that, right? The Yankees and the Dodgers are that. Uh, in my football life, the Steelers, their opposite rival is the Cowboys. And they faced the Cowboys 3 times in the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, I had to watch them lose. That was the last time the Cowboys actually had made it to the Super Bowl, which was in 95, 96. I've seen that Super Bowl. Unfortunately, it didn't go my way in that one, but that is the last one. Now, I've been alive for the one in 78, 79 that the Steelers won, but I wasn't old enough to understand what was going on, obviously. So the only thing left in my sports life is to watch the Steelers beat the Cowboys in the Super Bowl, which I don't think is going to happen anytime soon with the way things are going. Um, CBC, I don't is why does he so if that's the case, why does he hate the Dodgers? I don't understand. What is the problem? I have never seen anything that resonated around Smoltz, the Braves. Is he mad about 2020 when they came back from 2-0 and 3-1? I don't know. It's weird. And usually I try to really pay attention to that sometimes, because sometimes I think people talk themselves into believing that the color guy is not supporting their team. I've had that. I've seen that happen a lot, where you literally have both fan bases complaining about how the color guy is not really cheering for he's cheering against their team. But I'm being serious because I'm pretty attentive to that kind of stuff. I Smoltz did not like the Dodgers. It was very clear to me. It was always that. I can't figure out whether it was something that was kind of pushed on him by the producers, or if he generally doesn't like him. Maybe, let's see. Maybe because he had to call the Dodgers beat the Braves in 2010 NLDS. I don't know. The Braves weren't going to win squat that year, were they? That series was a snooze. I mean, the Milwaukee Dodgers series, one of the best series ever. It's the way it all ended up. So I don't know. I don't know. Something that would be nice if somebody could ask him. Like, do you not like the Dodgers? Like, be honest. Like, that probably have to be in private. Couldn't probably do it in public. BC Dodgers knocked Freddie out in 2013, 2018, 2020, and would have in 2021 had they not lost three Cy Young winners. That's an interesting take, BC. Hmm. Still a dumb move by Atlanta. I know they wanted to get younger with Olsen, but does Atlanta win another World Series if they keep Freeman? That's a good question to ask. Might we need to get an Atlanta Braves fan in here to ask him that question? I think that'd be kind of cool because talking about Freddie Freeman, we haven't we're talking about Otani, we're talking about Roki, we're talking about all these guys, and I'll get back to Roki a little bit in a little bit. I have some other things that I want to put up here as well as what's been going on at Dodger Stadium too. But I'm like sitting there, I'm like, I mean, Freddie Freeman, you guys saw that pitch inside. I think it was an inside changeup, and he just sent it to the stands, same place that he took the grand slam in Game One. And I'm sitting here, and Jeff and I were talking about this too, about who's likely to maybe challenge Otani for the MVP. And I'm going, man, is Freddie really going to do this again? Freddie just missed some time in Tokyo because his rib thing kept hurting him. Is this? I don't know. Has it healed? Freddie is one of those guys that actually plays through pain. So I'm just kind of in awe at this point of how unbelievable his double, even just how clean it was. Just a guy locked in. When they talk about just plain old fashioned baseball player, like old school, when you talk about old school gets thrown out a lot. And this guy actually is the epitome of an old school contact baseball player with power. Like I don't think there's an appreciation for Freddie Freeman. And that's always something that gets thrown out too. Oh, this person's underrated. This thing is underrated. No, 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 no. Because he's probably a quiet guy and just a genuinely nice guy, I think that's probably why it's not looked down enough. But seriously, Freddie Freeman is that guy is something else, man. That guy just knows how to hit a baseball. And he's going to be going to the Hall of Fame. He's an MVP. He's going to be stacking rings here too before he's gone. But I'm kind of curious: is Freddie Freeman going to be a guy that's going to be hitting like this when he turns 40? Kind of curious to see if that's something in the books. I don't think the Dodgers are going to keep him until he's 40. But man, I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't if he ends up being kind of like the Nolan Ryan of hitters because he could be a DH for 2-3 years. He could be a DH. Whether it would be with the Dodgers, that'd be in question. It would have to be something where Otani figures out a way to play a position, but I don't know if that's in the books, at least not for right now. There's been some talk that maybe he could end up playing right field or whatever, but I've never seen him play right field, so I wouldn't even know what that would look like. But yeah, Search, he is. I think that's probably what it is pure awesome. He's just a God. You're talking about a guy that not only can ball, but he's a guy that just you want to be successful. He's just that kind of guy. Freddie is 764 hits away from 3,000. Oh, there's no doubt, BC. No doubt that Freddie is going to get 3,000. I have absolutely no doubt. The only question will he do it in a Dodger uniform? You're talking about 764, which means he's got to average just a little under 200 hits a year. Let's look at his stats here. I think I looked at it a few months back, but I couldn't remember. I didn't really dive into it too much, but let me pull that up here. So, uh, so he had 153 hits last year, and then the 2 years he played prior to last year with the Dodgers, between those 2 years, he hit 199 and 211. He actually led the league in hits in 2022 with 199. And so between 2022 and 2023, he hit 410. He had 410 hits last year, played 147 games, had 153. Let's say with the way things are going now, he hit 153 because he had missed time because of his kid. let's see here. Let me do some math here. If he hits, let's say 175 times 3, it's probably going to be. So in the next 4 seasons, if he hits 175, he'll be at 700 hits. So he'll still be 64 over. So he would need. He probably. You know what? Maybe I'm overshooting this. He would need to play 5 more years. I don't know if he'll be able to do it in a Dodger uniform. I fully believe that if he wants to play 5 more years, I believe he can. But whether he be in a Dodger uniform, that's going to be the question. I don't know. Don't worry, Mark. We'll teach you about what's going on there. Let's see. Che, welcome to the show, my friend. Freddie has 3 more years left on his contract, including the CC. Yeah, so 3 years, and he likely will need 2 more. He can play. I feel he can play until he's 40, 41 if he DHs. I would we'd have to see how the Dodgers play with how they play that out. I don't know. That's going to be an interesting one. Goldschmidt is turning 38. So I always forget how old Goldschmidt is. I always feel like Goldschmidt's like in his late 20s. I don't know why. I when I find out he's in his late 30s, I always kind of go, man, time goes by quick, man. Dodgers will extend Freddie in a year and a half. You know what, Craig? That's an interesting one. If they extend him, does that mean that they're going to? He's going to take a pay cut? Because I think if he doesn't, if he doesn't, if he if he if he demands a contract that coincides with what the Dodgers can pay him, then maybe you can add a couple more years on that. I just don't know what his body's going to be like on the defensive end. I don't know. I know first base is much easier to play later in your years versus if you're playing third or the outfield, but it's something that I guess figure out down the road. I don't think we have to worry about it right now, but it is an interesting topic because it would be kind of cool to see. We didn't get a chance to see Adrian Beltre hit 3,000 as a Dodger, even though he was a Dodger for a long time. So it'd be nice to see Freddie Freeman hit 3,000 in a Dodger uniform. Freddie is 100% 100. Will he wear it? Ooh, Che, that's a good question. That is a good question. I'll tell you what. I'm going to take a guess on this. If the Dodgers end up winning, let's say he plays, because right now he is 35 years old. He turns 36 in September. So he's going to be 36 at the end of this year. So that goes 37, 38, 39, 40. What if he wins 3 more championships with the Dodgers? I think if he wins like 2 or 3 more, he's going to have to be a Dodger. And he's not a vindictive guy. He came up in the Atlanta system, so it would make sense if he picked Atlanta just because he's that kind of guy. But really, let's really look at this for a second. What is the public going to remember him as if he wins 2 or 3 more championships? You're talking about he already won one in Atlanta. He's won one now in LA. If he wins 2 more, let's say 2 more at the very least, he's now sitting at 4 championships. 3 of them are in LA. He's going to be known as a Dodger. 3 championships as a Dodger. 3 championships being a Dodger. So yeah, I think he picked the Dodgers in the end because that's what he'll be known for. Or maybe I'm just wishful thinking and hoping he does it. It doesn't matter to me. I don't really care about any of that stuff, to be honest with you. All I care about is Championships, because I'm a Dodger fan first. What an individual player does with their own decisions honestly doesn't really make a difference to me. I never really understood the whole, oh, pick a team to go into Cooperstown. I always thought that was kind of weird. I'm like, well, what if you're Reggie Jackson? Reggie Jackson won 3 titles in Oakland and then won 2 in New York. I go, he's equally as important in both situations. So why would you make him pick somebody? Dave Winfield. This is a good example for what we're talking about with him being known, with Freddie being known as a Dodger versus a Brave down the road. Dave Winfield played for the Padres. Dave Winfield played for the Angels. He played for the Toronto Blue Jays, played for the Yankees. And he went in Hall of Fame as a Padre, which was kind of like, what? To me, Dave Winfield's known, to me, he was really known to me as a Blue Jay, because that's when they won back in 92, 93. Yankee, I know that the boss, George Steinbrenner, wasn't too happy with Dave Winfield during his career. I think Dave Winfield had a reputation of not coming up big in big moments. And I think that was kind of a dig by him picking the Padres. That was kind of a dig to the boss, saying that's what you get for, cracking on me back in the day. I'm going to go in as a Padre, even though like a handful of people knew he played for the Padres if they don't watch baseball. But Freddie Freeman, either way, doesn't matter to me, man. Just keep bringing them rings, man. That ring that you guys saw, man, that thing was beautiful, by the way. A lot of these rings now have an opening. Now they open stuff up, and they have stadiums in there and arenas in there and all this cool stuff. So if you haven't seen the rings yet, go on Google and put in Dodger ring. You'll really like what you see. And the thing was like this big too. Mookie already known as a Dodger with. See, that one now for sure. I would be in major shock if he didn't. He doesn't call himself a Dodger. I just don't see him not being a Dodger. He's won 2 titles with the Dodgers now. So if he wins another couple, you're talking about 4 championships with the Dodgers. Nah, he'll be a Dodger. Yeah, Che. That's what it was. That little dig right there made Dave Winfield go in as a Padre. Going as a Padre. I don't even know what he did in San Diego, to be honest with you. I don't know, but it's a funny story nonetheless. Oh man. Let's see here. Greg, I've seen all Dodgers since 1958. I have your books from 61, 62, 63, 65, 66. Tickets were only 1 to 5. Man, Craig, what I would have done to get into a time machine and be there with you. And I can only do research and read about those teams. I know 63 and 65 were very good years for them. Real bummer for 64 because they lost to the Yankees in 7. Would have been an interesting three-peat right in the middle of all that. I thought it just, God, that must have killed you, man. Oh man, those type of things. We've been lucky as a Laker fan to see a three-peat, and I've seen in my adult life, I've seen. Let's see here. So in 88 was baseball. Football for me was in 89, and then 91 was basketball, the NBA. So I've seen I can say I have small memories of the Niners winning back-to-back in 88 and 89, the Pistons because I don't remember 87 and 88 of the Lakers. Really, things started kind of coming into fruition memory-wise in 88. So I remember 88 because I used to live in the Central Valley, so I was very familiar with what's going on with the Niners around that time. And a lot of my friends, when they came to this country, a lot of their parents went to Chicago. So a lot of them were Chicago fans. And then, of course, I was born in Royal Oak, Michigan, a suburb of Detroit. The Detroit info was always there. So 88, 89, 88, 89, the Niners were back to back. Pistons, 89, 90, back to back. Then you had the Cowboys, 92, 93, back to back. And then you had the Bulls, who three-peated. Houston went back to back. Bulls three-peated again. I'm trying to think what was the other sport. You had the Red Wings that went back to back. You had the Penguins that went back to back in 91 and 92. So the Red Wings went back to back 97 and 98. So I remember all those times. I used to pay attention to hockey a lot during the 90s. Not so much now. I wish I could. I wish I had time. But definitely a lot of back-to-backs, a couple three-peats, and then the Lakers three-peated. Again, repeated again in 09 and 10. The Patriots went back-to-back. So, it's been a hell of a 30-plus year thing where I've seen a lot of three-peats and a lot of back-to-backs. Time for the Dodgers to get a back-to-back now, because they've never had one. They've never had one. They've been in existence since 1883, and they have not had a back-to-back World Championship window. And I'm expecting actually three, to be honest with you. I think this team has the potential to have three in a row. Baseball is a fickle game, but they have the potential to get three in a row. They get three in a row. I don't know what kind of screaming matches they're going to have with the owners and fans and what collective bargaining agreements are going to come through. But I would expect that those things are going to heat up. Let's see. Where are we here? Dave Winfield was a great player. Absolutely. I do like the Mr. April part, though. I don't think he's that tall, Che. I don't think he's that tall. I actually worked at a hotel. I'm 6'3". I worked at a hotel that he came to with his wife, and I'd say he's probably closer to 6'5". Maybe he shrunk. This was years ago, by the way. This was like 30 years ago. Maybe he shrunk, but I don't think he was 6'7". Not from my memory. He looked more. He looked probably more 6'5". Maybe with his cleats he was 6'7" and with shoes on, but he looked like he was more 6'5". It killed me in the 60s when the Celtics beat the Lakers 8 straight times. The finals tickets were won. See, Craig, I don't know if I would have survived all that. I don't know how the hell you survived it. That would have killed me too. I mean, the fact that they lost, I think, 5 in a row at one point. Might have been 6 in a row, actually. And then to go 0 for 9 before you finally win one. I mean, that had to have been so brutal. 0 for 9 was the ninth one was the 84 championship, which should have been a win if James Worthy just gets the damn ball to Magic instead of Henderson for that layup, and then they went into overtime and lost game 2. Lakers win for the first 2 games in Boston. That series is over. Lakers are winning in 84, and Bird never beats Magic in the pros or in college, and the Lakers are sitting up top right now as the all-time title winner. I mean, it's crazy that one pass did that. Let's see. Yeah, Craig. It looks like Craig is our honorary time machine. You're our time machine, Craig. More stories of those things, man. Please keep them coming. Let's see. Search, I keep missing you, brother. I'm sorry. Here, let me put you in here. Me and my cousin used to shoot rubber bands at Padre games, and we annoyed Dave. Come on, Dave. There's a bunch of kids hanging around, man. Be thankful. Let's see, Craig. We got the last since 1977. Lakers have won 11. Celtics only 5. Yeah, man. It's been a that's pretty much right around my timeline. I was born in 78. So I've seen nothing but kind of Lakers dominate that run, and we're about to see the Dodgers do the same in this era. This is going to be This is definitely going to be the best, and it already sort of is the best Dodger era in my book. You're talking about an ownership that has not failed at all in any of the years that they've owned the team. Since 2013, they've hit the playoffs. They've gone the 4 World Series. They've won 2. They've won 11 division titles. Should have 3 to 4 championships due to the Astros and the cheating Red Sox as well. But again, I'm getting a lot of flack for the Red Sox thing too, by the way, because we're like, "Ah, you guys have Mookie Betts and Joe and all that." I'm like, look, cheating's cheating, man. If they were found cheating, they just didn't cheat as much as the Astros. And I'm pissed, man. I'm still pissed about those things, and I always will be. That's why I wanted the Astros or the Red Sox in the World Series. Now, I don't mind the Dodgers beating the Yankees again in the World Series. If you came to me and you said, "Hey, Joe, we're not going to give you the Astros or the Red Sox, but here's what we're going to give you. For the next 2 years, it's going to be Yankees, Dodgers, and the Dodgers are going to whoop their ass each year." I'd be like, sign me up. Sign me up. I'll roll with that. Let's see. Shows you how tough Jerry West was. Let's see. Search. If you want the finest in the Lakers Dodgers content and breaking news, you have come to the right place. Thank you, Search, again for promotion and protection. Promotion and protection. That is something that you should put on your card. Promotion and protection. Because if you don't, if you mess with my people, I will search and destroy you. I got to get a soundboard, by the way. Empire Jeff told me what to buy. So as soon as I get that thing set up, you're going to start hearing more fireworks in here. Let's see. Where are we here? Where are we? Che. 1988 was my favorite Dodgers season. Hershiser, 59 consecutive scoreless innings and a Cy Young. Kirk Gibson's MVP, winning season after 86, 87, losing season, lost to the Mets, 10 of 11 regular season. Yes, that is true. That is true. Now, I wasn't invested in the regular season part of this. Unfortunately, I lived in the Central Valley, so we weren't able to really watch the Dodger games on a day-to-day or even really listen to it. We were too far out. We were in giant country. But it was the first year I was watching whatever was on TV with my dad. And of course, when they beat the Mets, they played the Oakland A's, which I was getting destroyed by Oakland A's fans. So I was in the Central Valley, so you had a lot of Oakland A's fans, obviously a lot of San Francisco Giants fans. So Oakland A's fans were coming out of the woodwork, man. They were clowning me. And I really liked a lot of the players on the Oakland A's. Very, very, very charismatic, very movie star-like team. You had the Cansecos, you had the Dave Stewarts, you had the Mark McGuires, and these guys were all superheroes, man. These guys were all built like freaking statues, and they were supposed to just destroy everything and everyone that year. Them and the Mets. But to this day, God rest his soul. Love you. Love my dad, man. God rest his soul, man. Still to this day, or until the day he died, I never heard my dad scream like I heard him scream when that crack hit on that ball. When Gibby hit that crack, he knew that sucker was gone, and he started screaming. I was like, "Oh!" And that was it. That was the moment where Dodger baseball really hit home, and it never left. And here I am. What is it now? Almost 40 years. We're talking 37 years. 37 years. And to be in a position, thank you, Serge. Appreciate that, brother. And to be in a position 37 years later, the Dodgers are champions. They've already won 5 years ago. They've won 11 division championships in the last 12 years. I mean, it's like, man, we are about to see something here, probably in this 9-year Ohtani window that we'll probably never witness again, but we'll have it. We'll have it like we had it with the Lakers in the 2000s. We saw 5 championships in 11 seasons in an era of amazing basketball, even if we never see a really good basketball game again, which obviously that's not going to happen. Boy, man, what games we saw. Point 4, Ori's shot, Kobe's game winner in game 2 against Phoenix, Kobe's putback against Indiana, Kobe's pass to Robert Horry in game 1 in the first round against Portland with the game winner. Ron Harper's game winner in game 3 against Portland in 2000. I mean, there's so many. Powell's putback against Oklahoma City in round 1 in 2010. Kobe's underbite game, the one that almost took me out. I think I lost probably a year of my life from that game, game 3 against Denver in '09 in the Western Conference Finals. That game, man, some of the things we've watched, we can seriously go to bed and not have to ever worry about anything anymore. Now everything is just gravy, which is what makes this amazing too, man. And how fortunate we are to be fans of the Dodgers, because going through the McCourt era, going through Fox, the O'Malleys were great owners. I didn't know enough at that time to know what a good owner was, but when you look back on it, I remember Fred Clare though, and I of course obviously remember Tommy Lasorda, big fan of his. Really knew who he was. The fact that they were able to do what they did, that was the family owned thing, and they were very very good at what they did. But there was a little bit of a lull there, man. It really really sucked. My Luka Doncic in the '90s was Mike Piazza. I've really only had two favorite players that I would say were my guys in all the sports that I've watched and all the teams that I cheer for. It was Magic Johnson and it was Mike Piazza. And when Fox traded Mike Piazza in '97, that absolutely took me out for like a few years. I was so pissed off at the Dodgers. I just didn't want to have any feeling towards it. But loyalty is loyalty. I've never ever strayed from my teams too long. The Dodgers have pissed me off enough to where I was like, I'm not going to invest myself day in and day out on this. I'm going to kind of just let it kind of watch it at a distance. But I don't even know what that means. What distance? What distance? I'm still every 5 seconds I'm looking at scores, even if I'm not watching the game back in the day. So I don't know necessarily if I was not really paying attention to what was going on. Now, whether I was able to watch those things, back in the '90s, even when you were in Southern California, it was difficult to get those games on TV. Of course, they weren't on phones and all that. I don't know what the hell I do right now, man. I wouldn't know what the hell to do if I didn't have my phone. If I didn't have a phone, I don't know when the hell I was going to watch the Dodger games live. So props to technology, man. you hooked it up on that one. Let's see here. Hershiser had 3 hits in Game 2 of the '88 World Series. That is true. A's only had 3 singles, all by Dave Parker. The entire game, Hershiser was a very good hitting pitcher who also bunted very well. The '88 season was, in a lot of ways, the equivalent of Madison Bumgarner's 2014 season. I think Hershiser's was a little better. He had more accolades, winning the Cy Young, winning the NLCS and the World Series MVPs, the scoreless inning streak, all that by a hair. But that's how I equate the Hershiser year in '88. I vividly remember the 14 season with Madison Bumgarner, how he took the Giants all the way through. That's what Hershiser did, plus 2 or 3 on top of that. And it was a great, he did it. He became the bulldog, and he even won a NLCS MVP for the Cleveland Indians in '95. We're this close to winning a World Series as an Indian as well. And so he's Hershiser was extremely good in his career. Not Hall of Fame. I look at Hall of Fame a little different. He didn't have enough juice throughout his career, but one thing that you can't deny is Hershiser seemed to be a money pitcher. He was a money game pitcher. If he had more opportunities to play in, the playoffs, let's say if he had gone to Atlanta in '91 and played through the '90s, there might have been a chance where he could have probably shined and maybe did some of the things that would have allowed him to get in the Hall of Fame. Let's see, where else are we here? Sorry, guys, I'm going to try to catch up to where everyone is here. Still Mike's rookie card. So Hawks have the longest but moved from St. Louis 1957 chips. By the way, that was the year they beat the Celtics. That was the lone loss lone finals loss for Mr. Bill Russell. The other year that he didn't win a championship was the 1967 Philadelphia 76er team that Wilt Chamberlain that was the year where that was his peak. That was his peak where he owned everything, including Bill Russell and the Celtics that year. Hershiser had a shoulder injury that shortened his time with the Dodgers. Yeah, I remember that. My first playoff game. Greg, this is nuts, dude. This is nuts. 62. 62. So, Craig, you'll probably agree with me on this. Again, I'm a historian on this. What would you say, man? I know everyone that knows that's a Laker fan says this. If Frank Selvey hits that open mid-range shot in Game 7, how different would the Lakers battle with the Celtics be? Do you believe that had they won that game, they wouldn't have lost so many? Or was it probably just that one game they win and it kind of just continues from there? That's a question. Since you were there, that's amazing, or around at that time and knowing what was going on. I think that's a question that you could probably answer. We can't, unfortunately. What's your thoughts on the Braves series, Joey? Well, the Braves looked like absolute trash against the Padres. I don't know if they're going to muster up and come in and give the Dodgers a little bit of a headache. They don't have a break, so I don't know. They might still be tired. I don't know. I actually do not know how this series is going to go. But the Dodgers are going to lose a game. They're going to lose games. They're going to lose at least 50 to 60 games. So back to my, since we're kind of going full circle here on Roki, on the Roki discussion in terms of let it play out, I want all the Dodger fans to understand here. The Dodgers are going to lose likely anywhere from 60 to 70 games this year. So, guys, they could be 50 to 60 too, but I don't know. I don't know if they're going to want the pressure of winning 115 or 117 games. I honestly don't really care that much. I think it would be cool, but my only worry right now is the NLDS. That's it. I'm worried about that series. I don't like 5-game series for a number 1 seed. If there's one thing that I'd like to be changed, I would like the 1 seed to not have to play a 5-game series against anyone. I don't care if it's a wild card team or the lesser of the division winners, however that plays out. I don't like the 5-game series. I think at some point they should just make the NLDS a 7-game series, but they want to do this stupid, win this game so you can go play this game. I would really prefer to just have 2 series, the NLDS and the NLCS, just be 7 games, and I think that would be just you're gonna get the best team that wins in a 7-game series, and that's my only gripe with the system right now. That's the only thing that worries me. So just need the Dodgers to win that series, and then I don't think that anybody else is going to beat them after that. Much like how it happened last year. Dodgers winning a chip, very probable, but the Lakers, we have issues, y'all. This team's fundamentals, and I think it's a league-wide issue too. It's not just the Lakers, but I hold the Lakers to a higher ceiling or a higher code of conduct, because you do have LeBron James, who's supposed to be this genius. You have Luka, you have JJ, who's supposed to be very practical. I don't know what the deal is with these guys' end of the game execution, but that is my worry with this team, is their end of the game execution. JJ needs to stop screwing around and just let Luka do his thing. Now, when LeBron had that putback, it was because Luka was the guy that they chose to hit the last shot. And look what happened. Because everyone was worried about Luka, it freed up LeBron. So, JJ, the next time you're in a close game, can you please let Luka decide on getting the ball in, making the shot at the end? That's why you brought him in. He has the clutch gene. Sorry to say this, LeBron doesn't, and he never has. And that's an argument in itself because people look at specific stats to say that that's not true. It is true. I've seen enough of LeBron since 2018 to know that he is not a clutch end of the game type player. He's only made 2 last minute shots. One was a buzzer beater the other night. One I think was a putback, or I'm not a putback, but a go ahead against I think it was Golden State, or a tie game. Sorry, that's not enough out of 30 or 31. Just not enough. Sorry, guys. But I did want to touch up on another subject that I teased here early in the show: face recognition at the Dodger game. Now, have any of you gone to a Dodger game yet? And have any of you registered face recognition? So to to start this off, they want the speed of checking in to go quicker, which makes sense. That makes sense. I've seen that line. How many times? How many times have we seen the line? You're going in, you're putting in your whatever the hell you're putting into that clear bag if that's what you have, and they're looking at stuff. So now what you would do is you could actually sign up on the MLB app. You can register, take a selfie, be registered, and then there's certain gates. Let's see here. Which gate was it that they had? I know some of you go to the game, so I'll let you guys know. So the left center field gate, the right field reserve gate, and the left field reserve gates. Those are going to be the areas where you could go and have your face recognized, and you don't have to go through the whole rigmarole and all that stuff, apparently, which I don't know if that makes any sense. They're not going to check your bag, even though, like, what if you do the recognition thing and then you still have something in your bag? I don't know how they're going to work that out. I don't know if that happens or what, but good question to ask all y'all. Is this something you guys want? Do you want them to have your face? There's been some resistance. I've heard some comments in some of the chats that are like, I'm not gonna send them my face, which is kind of funny, guys. How many of those people who are yelling that they don't want their face recognized are probably taking like 1,700 selfies while they're at the game and posting on their social media? Hmm. Okay. Hmm. See, Mark, I knew you'd think that was sick because down under, they like that shit over there, huh? They like everything all scanned up so they know where you are, right? See, in America, we don't like that shit here because now it's like, hey, man, what are you trying to do, man? You trying to turn us into China? 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 Is that what you're trying to do? What are you going to do with my picture, man? Huh? And how many of those guys in that stadium have records, by the way? I'm just trying to keep it real, guys. A lot of guys in there. Hell, the Mookie home run. I saw a video of 2 Dodger fans fighting each other in the park on their way out. Dodger fans. That's how stupid these guys are sometimes. So those guys are probably going to get complained. They're probably going to sit there. Hey, I want to show you my face, man. I don't want to go to the. It's funny. Let's see. You guys are still talking basketball. That's good. Lakers have a LeBron and Luka problem, taking too many threes. Che, it's not the Luka LeBron issue, man. It's the NBA issue. I don't know what the hell they're gonna do, man. I really don't. I have no idea what the next phase of this philosophy of threes are. I don't know it's something has to bust it. The only way you bust it outside the court is you either expand the court, make the 3-point line longer or further away, which I don't think owners are going to do that because they're going to lose seats. You either do that or you've got to get rid of the zone. Make it more important to get the ball in the basket. And for those of you who don't understand how the zone works, before they implemented the zone after the 2002 season, what not having the zone in the NBA meant is you can't guard a guy that doesn't have the ball with more than one guy. That's why centers mattered back in the day. Guys like Shaq. I mean, Shaq was an unstoppable force when you couldn't shade a second guy on him or drop a second guy on him. Imagine that. The only way you can drop a second guy is as soon as he gets the ball, then the second defender can come in. If you have something like that, that could be something where that could start kind of taking away the 3-point shot. But I don't know if the NBA is going to put that ketchup back in the ketchup bottle. I don't know. I would like it. I thought the NBA was a much better game when the zone wasn't in it. Just because I don't like zone. I think the zone's a stupid defense. I think it's stupid now that it's allowed every now and then. To me, it's keep it in college, keep it in amateur ball. I like professional basketball better before the zone. Let's see. They have your face surveillance, but not with the name attached. Is that what it is, BC? I don't know how that all works. There's a chance I might go this week. Definitely going to go to a few games here, not too long, not too far, but we'll have to figure that out. Disneyland had paper tickets for every ride. I'll be going there Tuesday and Wednesday. I know that I heard that they took away the fast pass or something. I don't know. I'll find out on Tuesday when I get over there. Let's see. Love pre-zone ball. I love the big dudes dominating the paint. I mean, we got some big guys now. I wish we could. I know that there's some bigs right now, especially guys like Zubac. Man, if you took the zone away, man, he'd be a perennial all-star. Let's see, Craig. Hard to believe, but Will Chamberlain averaged 50 points a game on a variety of shots. So, Craig, let's talk shop here since you remember that time. So, was Wilt a product of the competition at that time? There were only what 8, 9 teams at that time too, which can work both ways. When you only have 8 or 9 teams, each team is stacked with talent. So what was it about the stats back in the 60s? Was it the fact that they didn't shoot well, so there was more opportunities for rebounds? And the fact that he was able to be as close as he was to the basket, that's how he scored. Plus, he was notorious for playing all 48 minutes. There's no way, even if you had reincarnated Wilt Chamberlain and he had the exact same skill, exact same everything from the 60s, and then put him in, let's say in the 90s, you're telling me this guy's going to play 48 minutes? I don't believe that. I don't think he would have played 48 minutes. I don't think. No, Search. He never averaged 50 rebounds a game. He averaged 50 points a game. I think he averaged 25 rebounds a game. I think I'd have to look. Wilt was the greatest. End of story. So I equate the center position in basketball as the pitcher in baseball. I can't pick a center to be the greatest of all time because it's centers, bigs are different. They're the way the offense is situated, it's different. Bigs don't bring the ball up. They don't control the game. They have to be given the ball to do what they need to do. So for me, I always say it's a separation between best big man of all time and then the best player of all time. That's how I look at it. I hate to see every Joe Schmo in the NBA jacking up threes. 2-pointers are fun to watch. Miss the big man. Also hate seeing 3-point fast break. Okay, so Che, here's the issue with basketball. I think Dame Lillard had pointed this out a few years ago. If a team valued playing the right way, quote unquote. You are going to now have an offense that runs, let's say, 18 seconds out of the 24, takes a mid range shot, makes the shot, right? The problem is now teams are going to, in under 15 seconds, go hit a three, and they just got more points than you and did it faster. And then imagine that over and over again. Even if they miss the next two threes, that means you have to make sure you keep hitting your twos, which you won't. And then they just keep going up. They just keep going up. That's the whole point of the 3-point shot in the NBA is you can't stop losing that extra point over time. That's why it's so valuable. That's why you see 10-point leads go out in a minute and 18 seconds because of that. One steal, one guy that gets on a hot streak that hits 2 3-pointers in a row, and then another guy hits another three. Like it builds so quick, and it happens frequently. This isn't something that happens with one team every now and then. This is any team, every player, even marginal, average, a little bit okay player is gonna hit threes. If you don't believe me, you can see some of the Laker players that keep hitting threes. Gabe Vincent being one. Um, even though he's going to be known as a shooter in his career, Dalton Connect, all these guys can shoot. Back in the day, when 3-point shots were not valuable, hell, even if you were just a mid-range shooting team, which most were, even guys coming off the bench didn't shoot well from mid-range. People just didn't shoot well. In today's league, everyone shoots well. That's all they do is shoot, shoot, shoot. Whether they're really good, whether they're good, or whether they're average, they're gonna be making those shots. Gabe Vincent the other night, what did he hit? 5 or 6. So that's the difference maker too. That's why you can't relax in the NBA either. Fundamentals, something that I'm gonna preach loudly for the Lakers to keep doing is stop doing stupid stuff and use the fundamentals to do the basic stuff that are important, like inbound the damn ball. Inbound the damn ball. This is something that's plagued them all year. Whether with Luka or without Luka, common denominator, you all know who it is. Get that shit fixed. That needs to be fixed before the playoff starts. Greg, Chamberlain never fouled out of a game. He played, excuse me, he could play 48 minutes per game. What was an Olympic athlete, also volleyball player? I just don't see how in today's or even in the 90s he would have been able to do that. It's just too much talent. At least that's what I think. Still almost tore Shaq's hand off with a handshake in the 90s. Okay, Aaron, let's be real here. Not the guy from Cypress Hill. Like, be real. We always hear these old time stories and of course they've interviewed Wilt about Jordan, and they've interviewed Wilt about Shaq and all that. And Shaq's probably respectful about it because I think it's been brought up to him as well. If Wilt was so dominant, why was he 2-4 in the finals? It wasn't like those teams were stacked. He lost in 1970. He lost in 1969. He lost in 1976. I'm sorry, 73 with the Lakers. And they were favored in each one of those series. See, if he wins in 69, he wins in 70 and in 73. Look how much different his career is. He will have won back to back in 69 and 70. The Lakers lost to Milwaukee in 71, and that was Oscar Robertson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar team. So nothing to be ashamed of there, but then they lost in 71. But then in 72 and 73, 72 they obviously won. He won Finals MVP that year. And then in 73, that would have been another back-to-back. See, now, if you look at Wilt's career, if he wins those series, Now I can look at him and go, okay, Wilt went 5-1 in the finals. You could probably put it in the bank, put it in the bag that he's probably the greatest big man of all time. He didn't win enough for me. And if you're that dominant, you should have won those series. Because I did hear that he wasn't able to beat Russell because, except for one time, wasn't able to beat Russell because they had 4 other Hall of Fame players on there. Okay, I know it's still a team game. That's fine. But 1969, his team was better. He had better team. He's too busy getting in the fight with his coach, though, or his coach not liking him. Those little things matter, folks. Those little things matter. You didn't see Michael fighting with Phil Jackson. You didn't see Shaq fighting with Phil Jackson when they were winning those championships. So I don't buy into this. Wilt was this amazing, dominating player when it mattered. I wasn't there, but the championship results are there. So statistically, I salute. You could say until the cats and dogs come home. Greatest statistical NBA player of all time, and I wouldn't even shrug. I'd be like, yeah, about right. I mean, come on. 50 a game, 100-point game, led the league in assists because he wanted to. Totally understand it. But as far as the results, and you guys all know how much I like results, where it matters, he should not have gone 2-4. I'm just saying. How dominant was he when it mattered? That's the question. So, and then when you look at Shaq three-peated. Shaq won a 4th. Doubled up Mr. Wilt Chamberlain, and in an area where I'd say the competition was a little harder. I know Shaq had Kobe, and that helps. But Wilt had Jerry West. He had Elgin Baylor in 69, 1970. And then 72, Elgin took a retirement that was probably much needed, probably even before then, if there was a way. And but it is what it is. So yeah, that's what I feel about Wilt. Let's see here. Search and destroy. Joe, kiss my ass. Love you. What do you mean I'm wrong? Hold on. You're saying I'm wrong about Wilt? All right. Tell me why, Search. Why am I wrong? I will let you type it. And in the meantime, I'll go back to this face recognition thing, and then I'll get back to what you say. So this face recognition thing, I'm gonna do a little bit more investigating on it, and then when I go to a game, I'll figure out if it's something that's legit. Because if let's say you're looking at 50,000 that go to the ballpark every game, if half those people do the face recognition, no one's going to be in line anymore. It's going to be real quick. So from that standpoint, if you're not a conspiracy theorist, if you're not worried about them using your likeness to do something, read. That's definitely the disclaimer you want to read, folks. This isn't signing some DocuSign for your boss so that you can get your paycheck mailed to you. Like, I highly recommend, absolutely highly recommend you read that disclaimer. Do not mess with your personal face stuff, because those little freaks, they'll throw some stuff in there, man. They'll throw some stuff. And I'll give you an example. When people were signing up for Disney Plus, there was some BS about the Disney park and you allowing certain things to go through. I can't remember exactly the information, but apparently something went on that had nothing to do with Disney Plus, but because you signed it or you said okay with that disclaimer before you get the subscription, I guess that's what it did. So it's like, be careful, guys. These guys are a little, you guys. I think the Dodgers ownerships are not going to necessarily be those kind of people. I don't think they are like that. But you never know. They might end up having a third party that does it, and they don't even know about it. Just be careful. Be careful. If that's something you do, please read the terms and conditions. Don't end up selling your likeness, and then all of a sudden you'll never have it again. Be careful of that. Joe, love you, and thank you all for the subs. Yes, thank you, Search. Let's see. Shaq was great. I think Hakeem was the most skilled center, obviously, offensively and defensively. Who great few work. Yeah, I'm not going to argue against that either, Che. Hakeem, in a lot of ways, was my favorite player that was not of my team. He just oozed charisma or oozed skill set. I still think Shaq is a better center than Hakeem in the end, more dominant, but definitely probably you probably have a really good argument that he's probably the best two-way player. Kareem could have been that guy too. Let's say second for sure. Kareem was a really good two-way player. Wilt, obviously. So Wilt, Kareem, Hakeem. I don't think they were giving out Defensive Player of the Year awards. Otherwise, him and Russell would probably be winning every year. So I can't judge them on the awards there. So best two-way player, Search, I'll give you this. I'll give you Wilt, best two-way player of all time. Defense and offense. That's an easy one, actually. Love Joe. What a great channel. Thank you for all for being. Yeah, thanks, Search, again for being being you. Thank you for being you. Yeah, Aaron, Kareem might have Kareem's ability in the later years. He played 20 years. See, Wilt played 14 years total. Bill Russell played 13 years. And Moses played a while, but he actually, the last 5-6 years, he was done. He was kind of like Shaq towards the end. But Kareem didn't do too well after probably around 13, 14 years. Whenever you played against like a Moses Malone and the Ralph Sampsons and those types, those guys kind of gave him a hard time before Sampson got hurt. He was a finesse player, so he's still arguably the greatest center of all time, but he wasn't as effective, obviously, in the later years, and that's probably what we remember him more for. But I'd still say Wilt. If you're talking about best two-way player of all time, I don't know if you could be better than Wilt. I don't know if you can get 24,000 rebounds. That's crazy. That's crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Hell yeah, Search. You're mine as well, Search. You're mine as well, forever. I can't pass that word on though, Search. I'm not obligated. I'm not obligated to say it. I don't have the right. What did John Costa call it? Of color descent or something of whatever. Yeah, one of those things. Let's see, Aaron. I'm simply glad I can watch tape of all of them at any time. They all go great. I have a DVD of the Game 5 of the '72 finals. It wasn't a good rip on the CD. It came from one of those Laker packages. But you can kind of get a feel for how the game was. Although I do have all the 80s games, all the 80s final games. So the 80, all 6 of the 80 championship, all 6 of the 82 championship. I have a DVD of the 85, and then I have the 87 and the 88. And then, of course, the 2000s and beyond. Those are easy. Have them all. So if anytime you want to watch them, it's available. I found them online somehow. I found them online. Some of my was able to rip from YouTube and put them in a file from my own stuff. Yeah, I would highly recommend if you guys want to see kind of the variation of the 70s, the 80s, and then the 21st century basketball. You'll see a lot of different things going on there. But I don't think basketball, in my view, in a lot of ways, is probably timeless, kind of like baseball. Like the guys that when you look at guys in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, a lot of those guys are all 6'6", 6'7" too, as well. You had 7-footers then, and if you fast forward and put them in this era, those guys are going to be able to adapt and learn just as easy as the guys that learn now. They're all. It's not like football where you had 250-pound left tackles. That's not gonna that'll never happen again in the NFL. You can't just transport an all pro from the 1940s and 50s and put them in here. That wouldn't work. There's no way. But in basketball and baseball, you can have a guy that's 5'7" that can hit the ball out of the park in the 50s, and you can find him here in the 20s, in the new 20s. Oh man, the compliments keep coming. Serge, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's see here. Kareem now won in high school, college beat. And the cool thing about the one, I think the cool thing is the fact that when they didn't let freshmen play, and he beat him and 4 freshmen beat the champions, the varsity team of UCLA. That's how good Kareem was. That he beat the NCAA champions varsity team, him and 4 other freshmen when they scrimmaged. That's pretty crazy. Okay, Che, 1988, Lakers was the most enjoyable, nerve-wracking season of all time. 3 Game 7s versus Utah, Dallas, and the Pistons. Pressure to repeat due to Riley's proclamation in 87. Yeah, I've seen that might have been I've heard that might have been the best Utah team, even better than the 97-98 finals team against the Bulls, because Mark Eaton was on that team. I think Jeff Malone was also on that team, and he was a really good role player. But yeah, I think if Utah had a chance to beat the Lakers that year, and even the Dallas Mavericks, those two had a really good chance of possibly winning it all. Although I think the Pistons would have ended up winning that series anyways. So better to lose there than the finals. Thanks, Serge. About to be checking out here in a few minutes, but I wanted to thank you all for being here for the second show of the Joe Soro experiment, and you're also watching the Dodgers fast pitch on the Joe Soro experiment. I wanted to get something going here tonight because I'd been gone all weekend. I would have likely have had a show the last few nights, and I will have shows regularly, and I'll still be doing my LFB stuff, still be doing shows with Jeff. So I'll be around doing a lot more shows as the production value starts to ramp up here on this show. I will be gone Tuesday and Wednesday for family spring break stuff, but I will have a show again tomorrow night for the game against Atlanta. I'm crossing my fingers that Atlanta is burnt out and will continue to play like complete shite like they did against the Padres and lost all 4 games. And when I'm in the booth, when I'm here in the booth, I will likely have a show. With the baseball games, that they will kind of come in phases. A lot of the shows could end up being 30 minutes to an hour, just so I have enough time to do LFB and other shows. But if this is the first time you guys have been listening to the show, please like, subscribe, and share. And make sure you guys click on the notify button because I'll be setting up shows so you know when I'll be on. I was on tonight at 11 because I got home late. I would like to get at the Dodger games after they're done, or maybe later in the evening, as we go. And if there's something that we can do while the game is going on, I'll let you know as well. I'm still again trying to figure out. I also have a playback of the Dodger games. I'm going to start promoting. I'll send you guys the links to that. I'll have Sports Baby send it out to you as well. Sports Baby set it up. We did get a chance to see the Atlanta Padre game today on that same channel. So it's not just the Dodger channel. You can also come in and hang out. Sometimes maybe we'll all get together and just kind of shoot the shit. But thank you for being here tonight again. Have a great morning. Have a great afternoon. Have a great evening. And until next time, I will see you next time.